Hi everyone, I'm Jenna with Stahls TV and welcome to everything you need to know about monogramming. Monograms add a touch of personalization to any item and are growing in the apparel decoration industry. The reason that they're growing so quickly is because they can be put on anything as far as mugs, tumblers, t-shirts, tote bags, and can coolers and shoes, and many more. The list can really go on, so I won't bore you with all the details. We'll get into that in just a few minutes here. But before we dive into demoing, I want to talk about monogramming and what exactly it consists of. Monogramming has been around for quite some time, and it's making another round in the apparel industry and really growing in popularity. A lot of people know monogramming to be done typically with embroidery, but as we grow more into decorating on t-shirts that are really lightweight and don't really require embroidery, you get into heat transfer vinyl and everything that you can do with a heat press for monograms. And that's basically what we're going to be doing in our class today. But I also want to just give you an idea of the types of monograms that you can make. So we're going to bring up a picture here just so that you can have an idea of the different varieties. So right here you're seeing a single letter monogram. You have some with some script in there and also some frames and things just to make it very decorative. And that is the whole purpose of monograms, taking a person's name and using their initial to represent who they are and just making it very decorative. So a single letter monogram is used to represent the first or last name of the customer. Now, a monogram can be made between 1 or 3 initials. The style chosen and the layouts of initials varies depending on the customer you're decorating for. So this is our single letter monogram. We're going to head over to our next type of monogram, 3-letter monograms. Now, this is our most popular style of monogram. For this particular style, you are using the last name initial as the center of your monogram. So essentially, we're swapping places with the last name initial and the middle initial. So that's what our 3-letter monograms look like. And I just want to show you how we're going to be able to create these. So we're going to head over to my desktop here, and I have CADWorks brought up. So CADWorks is a free online artwork program that you can use. You don't have to download anything. It works right off of the internet. But you can also create monograms in any other type of program you may be using, such as Adobe Illustrator, Corel Draw, or even Silhouette Studio if you're working with craft presses, or craft cutters and things like that. So the first thing I want to show you is how to create this, and it's just as simple as adding text and just playing around with the sizing and the shapes and things like that. So for the first one, I'm just going to add some text in here. I'm going to add 3 letters here, and we're just going to stick to this as a same size letter. These are very popular for adding monograms to menswear or something that they'll be carrying around, such as a laptop bag or a briefcase or anything like that. And to make this look popular and make an item really stand out, you want to have a variety of different fonts that you can use. So right now this is your basic Arial font, but we're going to bring up the different font styles that we have here, and I have one in particular that I like using for the same size letter monograms, and that is our Easy Open Face. And I downloaded this right off of dafont.com. It was a free download. They have a ton of different styles that you can choose from on there, and you can see just how nice this makes the same size letter monograms. So we're going to move into the most popular used in modern monogramming, and that is the last name featured in the middle. So earlier we looked at 3-letter monograms, and I told you a little bit about how the last name is the center of the monogram. So I want to show you how easy it is to do that. This is, like I said, this is one of the most popular used in modern monogramming, and so we'll just go ahead and start new here so I can show you the different styles. So we'll just, again, add text here. I'll just do my initials for this, making sure my last initial is in the center there. And I'm just going to go up to some fonts that I downloaded here, again, right off of dafont.com, and choose a text here. So I want to look for my monogram one here, and it's actually going to take my initials and put them into a circle text. I have so many on here, I'm trying to decipher where exactly it's at. Okay, here it is. Okay, so you can see here that it went ahead and put my initials into a circle, and I'm actually going to make these lowercase so that I'm going to be able to break these apart. They're not actually going to make the text lowercase, it's just going to open up that background so that I can break these apart and adjust them how I need to. Okay, so let's make this a little bigger so you guys can see. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and break this all apart. So I'm going to go up to my shaping, and I'm going to go to break apart by region. It's going to break all of these apart so that I can take them individually and place them how I need to. So I'm going to take the first J out of my first section there, because that's going to create the beginning of our circle monogram. And then I'm going to drop down my S here and the last part of the L on the end. So you can see how that's created a circle monogram. And it's just as simple as having the right text and being able to maneuver them however you want. Now, another popular style, I'm going to go ahead and condense these all together so that we have that there. Okay, so now that we have our first popular circle text, you can see it's just a regular text stretched into a circle. I want to go ahead and move on to our intertwined script. Now this, you have so many varieties of fonts when it comes to this. They just need to be curly and very intertwined with each other. So we have plenty of those in our in my fonts here. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring up one of the most popular that you see, and that is the Monogram KKSC here. So that is an option there. And then we also have the free Monogram Beta too. That's another popular one. This one isn't going to be as curly as this Monogram one, so I'm going to go with this one just so that you can see how elaborate you can get with this. Okay, so I have my letters here. I'm okay with that. And I'm going to, again, just as I did with the last one, break apart by regions by going up to shaping and just scrolling down and clicking that. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm going to take this S and I'm going to enlarge this. This is going to be the center of our monogram, and it's going to basically set everything up for us. So we have our S real big in the middle, and I'm going to bring my J up next to it. It's going to be a little smaller than the S, but enough to really still stand out next to it. And I'm going to put it pretty close to it because, again, this is called an intertwined script for a reason. We want these loops to be intertwined with each other. And then I'm going to bring up my L. So my J was at the height of 2.76. I'm going to make sure my L is at the same also. And I'm just going to drag that in. And I can make sure all of these are centered by going to align and center. Whoops. I think what we need to choose there is center middle. Nope, must be the next center. Or maybe it's just middle. There we go. Okay, so we have, that's the correct option there, is just middle so that our letters aren't being put on top of each other there. So again, that's select all of these, align, middle, and it's going to go ahead and put those all into place for you. I went ahead and brought the L in just a little bit more just to make sure everything looks good together there. So I'm going to select all of these once more, go to shaping and condense all of them. That way, if I go to move this, it's not going to affect anything. Okay, so these are the two most popular that you're seeing on a lot of apparel and items and things these days. Do we have any questions so far before I move on? Okay, so these are the first two popular ones, and this is, again, like I said, the ones that are being seen mostly on items and apparel. And they basically just take these two styles and really take it a step further just by adding frames around them. So earlier when I showed you the single letters, they were adding frames and a lot of decorative things just to take it a little step further, and by adding a popular frame around the outside to create a decorative design. And you can do that very easily. Like I mentioned, defont.com, they have a thing on there, and I'm going to show you. And it's called KG Flavor and Frame. So I'm just going to type in a random letter here, and I'm going to go to that option there so you can see it right here. It is going to work as a text so that it's nice and easy to bring in. You don't have to import anything. And it's going to make your letter a frame. So that makes it super easy for putting it around a monogram. So I'm okay with that. And I'm just going to enlarge this and drop down in our monogram up here, so you can see just how easy it is to create this. So I'm going to push that to the back so I can reach my center piece here. And there you have it. So this is combining your intertwined script and your circle script, just so that you have frames around your monograms, just to really increase that value and make it look more special to your customer. Do we have any questions on that? Okay, so we're moving along just nicely here. Okay, so as I mentioned, there are thousands of monogram fonts available, and I also want to show you some different options for frames, and they're very easy to find. If you just want to go to Google, Etsy is another popular site. They sell a lot of SVG files on there for monograms. So I'm going to go ahead and show you just the different types of frames that you can get. They make it very easy for personalizing. So you can see they do it for football. They do it with bows on it if you want to do it for children's apparel. They have some for a basketball player, ones with just cute circle text. So these would be good ones here for putting around that circle text that I showed you how to create. And they just have so many different options. Now these are ones you do have to pay for. Someone's taken the time to create these SVG files for you. So if you go on Etsy and you're looking to buy them in bulk, this would be the great way to start. So you have that option, and then you have, you're able to find free monogram frames on Google as well, which is where I'm finding a lot of mine. You'll even see some of these today, and some of the ones we'll be pressing. So this one, for instance, I have saved in my CADWorks already. This is a free download here. So you have plenty of options here that you can have to decorating these monograms. And you can, it honestly is, there is no limitation here. You can do so much with them. Okay, so I just want to show you some other options that you have for frames. So for instance, if you wanted to do a letter with a name drop in here, and I'm going to zoom out so you can see this full thing here. So this is just as simple as adding in the text as I did earlier. And I'm going to go ahead and break this all apart so I can show you the different stuff here. So we added in our frame, we have our initial in here, and then we went ahead and dropped in a name. This would be great for personalizing a tote bag or a book bag for someone that has to carry a lot of books around, and also for iPad cases or laptop cases and things like that. So those are some items that you can find that would work great for that. And you also have something that's going to be great for decorating decor. So if you're decorating a table runner for the holidays, or even a pillow, this is something that would be great for that. And this is one of those single letter ones. And all I did here, this was actually found in one of my texts here. So I'm going to break that apart. So you can see these two images here. They were created just by typing in a letter and changing them to a different text so that you can have symbols. And they have those on dafont.com as well. And that was just as simple as bringing in a single letter and choosing a font to pair very nicely on even a towel for a home also. And towels are something you see embroidered too, so being able to heat apply those is a great option just to keep costs down for such a low run. Now this is another option. We have a laurel frame here. This is very popular for the same type of thing, just using one letter and adding in a laurel frame. And then we have our fun circle text with an Aztec frame around it. Now this is very popular for your youth tees and customizing things for sororities even. And we're going to be applying some of that stuff here soon, so you'll be able to see something like that also. So this is a great option for that. And it looks like we have some questions.
Where did you find the laurel frame, and how do you keep them organized in your CAD works?
How do I keep them? Okay, so the question is, where did I find my laurel frame and how do we keep them organized in our CAD works? So I actually found my laurel monogram, my laurel frame for my monogram on Google. I'm not sure what exactly the website was, but you can be pretty specific here. I didn't have to pay for it. It was something that was free. I can actually get back to you on that if you need me to do so. But you can save these files, download them, you can import them and vectorize them. Just make sure you're doing it the right way. But yeah, so I pulled it off of Google and I can organize them in here by actually saving them into my clip art. So you can see that there are several things that we have saved into here, and you can save that in here if you need to. So before I was doing a distressed overlay for another class, I was able to save that into my clip art, and you can do that for this as well. We have another question?
Can you explain how you would break apart the different frames when you find them on Google, but there's multiple frames grouped together on one page?
Yeah, absolutely. So we can just head over to Google, and actually, I think I have one that I can already import, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to go to Import and Vectorize. And you can see here that this has several different frames on it. I actually use this to decorate a table runner. So I'm going to click the gray here for my background color. And then I'm going to choose this mint green, seafoam green color, and that's my foreground color. So it's going to be creating cut lines for that color. So we're going to click next. And you can fool around with your region resolution here and your fit to curve just to make sure that everything's showing up exactly how you want it. I can see some things are combined that I don't want to be combined, so I'm going to take my region resolution down and up my fit to curve, and I'm going to apply that. And I'm going to click OK. Okay, so this is the one I want over here. There are several ones that you can pick from, obviously, so I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to go to Shaping and Break Apart by Region. So it's going to be breaking apart each piece of each individual frame here. Now the one you want to keep, or the several ones that you want to keep, you're just going to highlight and you're going to drag it. And then we obviously don't want this text in here. So we're just going to drag that. So this is the one we want to keep. We're going to go to shaping and we're going to condense that so that it has that all grouped together as one. And if there's any other ones, you just do the same thing. Shaping, condense, move that to the side. So we have these two that we want. Now we're okay. We can go ahead and delete the rest of these. We won't need them anymore. Any questions on that? We're good to go. Okay, great. So we can go ahead and move along. We're going to actually head over to the press now to show you some of the different items. There are about 8 different items we have, plus we're going to share some pricing with you. So want to be able to get through all that. So let's head over to the press. Okay, so the first garment that I'm going to show you how to heat apply is a fan tee. Now this is very popular for monogramming for football games, basketball games, you name it. Monograms and having a decorative frame to go along with it is perfect for this. So we're just going to preheat my garment here. Make sure everything's centered. And just a quick couple second tack. This allows me to check my pressure also, since I had my platen changed out there. Okay, so we're going to be using our CAD cut adhesive and foil for this application. So we're going to apply our adhesive here. And make sure we're not too far down from the collar, since it is a V-neck. We don't need to go down too far for that. And I'm going to grab my cover sheet. And this applies for 10 seconds at a firm pressure. So we'll make sure our pressure is up a little bit. Drop our temperature down here. There we go. Okay, so now that that's done, we'll remove our cover sheet, and our adhesive is a hot peel. So we can just go ahead and take that right off. And we're going to be doing a 2-color application with the foil. So I want to show you just how easy this is, because you can see that there's a lot of different pieces to this image here. So I'm going to be doing my CKM monogram in gold, and I'm going to do the blue and gold also. So we're just going to cut our foil up into a couple different pieces and lay that out. So you can see our CKM is a little small. So we'll just cut this out and place that right over top of there, making sure that none of the edges are touching any other piece of the design. Okay, so you can go ahead and remove those pieces. And we're going to do the same thing to the text that is underneath our football frame here. And again, you just want to make sure that none of these edges are going to be touching our football frame here. If you're learning something new about me, I can't cut a straight line very nicely. Okay, there we go. So we have our gold, and the blue part's going to be pretty simple. Since our gold is already covering up where we want it to cover, we can just lay our sheet of blue right over top of that, and it'll press the adhesive that is showing. So we'll grab our cover sheet, Lay that on there nice and easy so nothing moves. And our foil is going to apply for 5 seconds. So it looks like we have some questions. We can go ahead with those at any time while we wait for this t-shirt, for our foil to cool down.
One of the viewers really likes the football frame around that monogram. Is that available in CADWorks, or did you find it from somewhere else?
I found it from somewhere else, and this is my fault for not having a list of where I found all my stuff. So I'm going to have to do that and create a resource for you guys where I found a lot of my stuff. I feel like that'll be pretty helpful for you guys. So I'll be able to do that. You guys can just type in the notes after the class if that's something that you want to request. We can get that sent out to you. Okay, so it seems like our foil is cooled down enough, so we can go ahead and peel that off. So you can see the blue stuck to the adhesive where the gold has not been laid down. And same for the gold. So that is a great profit opportunity for anybody that is a huge football fan. Foil is a very popular finish in the apparel decoration industry. Even if you're a screen printer, you know how long this has been around. So it's very popular, and what better way to pair this with a popular decoration such as a monogram and a football frame. So we can go ahead and bring up our pricing page here for this particular garment and material. So the cost to produce this, our shirt cost for this image is $6.99. The t-shirt that I used was from S&S Activewear. It was an alternative piece. So it's a little more expensive. So I'm pretty sure it's anywhere between $17 to $19. So if you want to keep your costs low, you want to go with some garments that are as more economical as this t-shirt. So we have a shirt here for $6.99. Our material cost for the adhesive and foil was $1.25. Our labor and overhead, I just want to point out that most businesses take 10% to 15% for labor and overhead. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware we did 15% for our labor and overhead here. That's where we got our pricing there. And our total cost to create all of this is $9.73. The selling price for this t-shirt ranges around $28. If you're looking at any apparel decorators online or even on Etsy, you can see that they're selling it around this price. So if this is something that you really want to, this is a market that you really want to attack and do very well, this should be your selling price. So you can see your profit per shirt if you're choosing a garment that is low in cost is $18.27. Okay, so that is our fan tee. We're going to move along to our oversized tee. Now this is a very popular thing in the apparel industry. It has been around for a while. You can see this in a lot of retail stores such as Justice for junior clothing, and also Victoria's Secret for that older demographic there. So for the first part of this is going to be a two-step application. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and preheat every part of this and actually, I'm sorry, I need to change out my plait into the 16 by 20. I'm talking so much, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, 16 by 20 is going to be the platen that you want to use for this particular garment since it is such a large garment. So we have our 16 by 20 on there, so we can just go ahead and load this on here the right way. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to slide this over to the first section of this oversized tee and do a quick preheat, just a couple seconds. This will allow me to adjust my pressure the way I need to and release any moisture or wrinkles in the garment. Okay, so now that I have all that preheated, we want to find the center of our shirt to make this nice and easy for printing an oversized garment with an oversized design simply. So we found the center of our garment here, and now we need to make sure we're putting our large design down. So we have our Sigma Kappa design here, and the easiest way to find center here is by taking the beginning of your design and the end of your design and folding them in half and creating a crease here at the top so you know that that's your center mark. So now that we've done that, we can go ahead and place that down. We just want to go a couple inches from the collar, not too low. Okay. So we have center. Now this is glitter flake, so this is going to have a very nice adhesive on the back that's going to allow me to move this without this transfer moving at all. So I don't have to worry about doing a little tack just to keep everything in place. So we're going to grab a cover sheet here. And we're going to do our first application. This is glitter flake applies for 10 to 15 seconds at 320 degrees. Now I can go ahead and move over to my other side here. Make sure we're at 10 to 15 seconds for this. I did 10. Okay. Do we have any questions? Okay, great. That means I'm doing something right. Okay. So I just want to point out here that for oversized t-shirts, it's very popular for sororities to just kind of represent who they are within the sorority. So since we're doing Sigma Kappa, if you are involved with a sorority or have been, you know that the difference between being a little and a big. So we're going to go ahead and drop our little thing here and right in the center. And I wanted to point out that this application could have been done with the other application as well. If I would have thought about it beforehand, I could have cut that carrier up so that this could have been applied at the same time as this. Just kind of taking out the extra step that we have to do here. All right, so it looks like we have some questions.
How do you press an oversized shirt on a heat press that doesn't have interchangeable platens like that one?
Okay, so the question is, how are we doing oversized shirts if we don't have interchangeable platens? I want to ask what the size of your platen is. Is it smaller than a 16 by 20? What are we working with here? Typically, our sizes for a platen are 15 by 15, 9 by 12. They range in size. So your typical heat press size ranges anywhere between that, and these can still be done on those size platens. So if you're working with a smaller platen that's not a 16 by 20, that's okay. It's just going to take a couple extra steps. You can actually find a video of ours from our craft corner. We work with a 9 by 12 press. We actually did an oversized print of this. So if you want to see how we did that, you can just go over to our resources there, find the craft corner, and see how we printed our oversized shirt there. Now we're going to do the left chest logo of our oversized shirt, so you can see just how tricky this can be because we have such a large print area. The sleeves are big, the collar's big, so we want to go ahead and find our center here. Make sure our collar's off. We want to be a few inches down from the collar and a couple inches over. We just have to be careful with all this extra room over here that we're not in the armpit or we're not too far into the center also. Now for a left chest logo on an oversized shirt, we typically size these about 4 inches in height or 4 inches in width and whatever in height, but just something large enough that they're going to be able to see that nice and big on the oversized garment there. So glitter flake is a hot peel, so we can go ahead and peel that carrier back. Okay, so you can see our completed oversized garment here. So we have our left chest logo on the front, really simple circle monogram there. So you're seeing this with 2 letters, which isn't something you typically see in monogramming, but this will range if you are decorating for sororities. And then we have our sorority name real big on the back and who the girl is by representing that she's a little in her sorority. So this is great to use for sororities because there are so many girls within a sorority and they have big sisters, they have grand bigs, they have little sisters, and there's just so much profit opportunity there. So let's take a look at how much you can sell this for. Okay, so our cost to produce, the shirt cost that you're seeing in this picture is $11.50. So if you are working with a long sleeve tee, that's going to be the price there. For the short sleeve t-shirt that I printed, it's $10.85. You can find these at Boxer Craft. Now for the material cost, you're going to see an increase there as opposed to the adhesive and the foil that we priced before, because glitter flake, it costs a little more per square inch. So we have $3.45 in material cost. And for labor and overhead, again, we did that 15% there. And our total cost to create this is $16.67. Now you can sell these shirts anywhere between $45. I've seen them sold at $50. We marked it at $45 because that's something that we're seeing now. So your profit per shirt is $28.33. So although you're looking at $16 some in pricing for that, you can see just how much profit you're actually still making on one of these shirts because they are so popular. So imagine yourself getting a group of sorority girls that want shirts like this and how much profit you can be getting on that. So we're going to move into our next market, which is children apparel. It is another market that monograms do well with. So we're going to change out our platen here so that we have our onesie fitting on there. I'm going to pop in my 8x10. And we're going to unbutton the onesie buttons here and just thread this right on here. Now again, if you're working with a platen or a heat press that you can't necessarily interchange, it is this will still work on something smaller. You just have to make sure that the buttons are going to be off the press so that you have even pressure, and even utilizing heat printing pads and pillows can help also. So we're going to preheat our garment just for a couple seconds. And I'm going to be doing a 3-color monogram for this. It has the cutest little frame, and I can let you know after the class where what website I found this on. So we're going to do our largest piece of our design here, and that is the main part. So we have our little elephant here, and what's great about this is we're using our fashion film. So although we're going to be doing 3 colors, it's going to be a very simple step. So you can tack fashion film down for 3 to 5 seconds, and it's going to stay in place for you so that you can peel that carrier and move on to the next piece. So we have that tacked down there. We can remove our carrier since it's a hot peel. And this is actually going to make our registration very easy also. So if you work a lot with fashion film or any heat transfer material that has a tendency to shrink a little bit, this will keep that from doing that because it's not going to be under the heat long enough for it to actually shrink. So your registration should line up perfectly. Okay, moving on to the last part for our bow and our monogram. You can just lay that right in there. And we'll apply this one for the full application, 15 seconds at 320 degrees. This is going to ensure that when this is laundered, no vinyl is going to start popping off of the shirt. So for the last step, you do need to do your full application just to make sure it's getting a good adhesion onto the garment. Okay, so you can see here that the carrier left a little bit of a box here. Now you can avoid that by doing a quick 2-second tack and then removing the carrier and applying it for its full application. I didn't think to do that, so I'm going to put my carrier sheet back down and get rid of it just by heat applying it once more for a few seconds, and that should pop that right out of there. Okay, so it didn't get rid of it fully, but just keep in mind that if you're going to be working with a carrier sheet that's going to be going on a large portion of something you already applied, either cut around each design or you can just hit it for a couple seconds and peel the carrier there. So you can see just why this would be so popular for children's apparel. Mothers, aunts, grandparents, you name it, they love buying stuff for their little ones, and something especially that's personalized. Newborns are always getting onesies with brand sparkling new and things like that. So they love being able to customize. So if you're working with children's apparel, here's some of the profit that you'll be seeing with that. So our onesie cost was $3.15. I actually picked this up at a Hobby Lobby that we have close by. They sell some blanks there. Our material cost, since we were using such little material and we were using our most cost-effective fashion film, it is bringing in at 57 cents. Our labor and overhead, which is at 15%. Total cost to create this personalized onesie was only $5, and you can see the selling price there at $20. Now, if this is something you're doing well, this would be a great price to start at. And then you can see your profit there is $15 per onesie. Okay, so we have our children apparel done there. And we're going to start moving into items. So we talk a lot about heat printing apparel and different types of apparel that is popular in the industry and how our material is compatible with that and what all you can do. So we're going to move into items here, but before I do that, I want to make sure there aren't any questions.
When you're calculating your cost of overhead, what figure are you drawing the 15% from?
You need to take into consideration everything that goes into your business. So if you have a business and then you have to take in how much your rent is per month, how much electricity you're using, everything that kind of combats where you're at and how you're doing this and what else you're doing well. So we're going to go ahead, if I answered that question for you okay, we're going to go ahead and move into our items. So the first one we have here is a tote bag. Tote bags are very popular for monogramming. I mean, any type of bag really is. Laptop bag, any cases for iPads or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and switch out my 8x10 to my 11x15. Just so that I have enough room to apply my full design here. Okay, So for this tote bag, I want to make sure that I'm getting some even pressure. So I want to make sure that any hard edges are not going to be in the way. I'm going to preheat this. And I'm going to grab a pillow real quick to set in there since the back of my seams are on the platen and very visible there. So I want to make sure I'm getting even pressure. So I'm just going to grab a pillow here and set this down because this is going to make sure that our seams are going into the pillow and the flat part of what we're printing is going to stick up. So we'll set our pillow down here. I'm going to do another quick preheat just to be safe that my pressure is adjusted correctly. So we just need to loosen that a little bit. Okay, so we're going to be using CAD Cut Flock. This is a very popular vinyl for decorating items such as tote bags because it has a really nice texture effect. If you've ever worked with like any acrylic felt or any other fabric type of heat transfer vinyl, this is very similar to that. Now when I apply my design, I want to make sure that it is high enough so that whenever I stick something in here, I have enough room and you'll be able to see what's still on the bag. So if this is stuff, it's going to make it assume that it's like dropping down lower. So we want to make sure we're printing it high enough that it's still going to be visible. So we can go ahead and peel the carrier. And it has a really unique finish, a lot different than some of the other regular heat transfer vinyl you're seeing, such as fashion film and things like that. Okay, so we can go ahead and move to how much it would cost to create one of these. Okay, so our bag cost, again, I picked one of these up at our local craft store, Hobby Lobby, and it was $1.42. Our material cost is $1.07. Labor and overhead, $1.22. Total cost, $3.71, and our selling price is $18. So you can see the profit that you're making there also. I just want you guys to keep in mind that if you want the cost calculator as a resource, or even if you want to have the pricing for each of these items that I printed here, it is in your handout section of your GoToWebinar. So you can download that there. If you want a cost calculator for being able to calculate your own costs at your own business, you can find that on our resource page on stahlstv.com. So that's there. That's available for you there. Before I move on to our next item, are we having any questions?
What material was that tote bag?
I believe it was just a canvas material. I don't even see it. Okay, here's our tag here. It doesn't even say what it's made of, but I believe that this is canvas material, so you're not going to have any issues with finding a material to apply to this. I also want to keep in mind that there are several different apparel, wholesale apparel websites where you can buy this stuff in bulk. So if it's something you were wanting to do a lot of, it'll actually drop your price down and you won't have to pay $1 and some change for each piece. It'll drop it down with the more you buy. So if you're looking to do a lot of this stuff, there are wholesalers there where you can buy this stuff in bulk. Okay, so we're going to move along to our next item, which is a wristlet, and that is also a very popular item for monogramming. It falls into the same category as a tote bag, so just keep in mind of the different items that you can apply when it comes to this. I'm going to do the same thing I did with my tote bag. There are a lot of hard edges with this wristlet, including a zipper and what makes the wristlet, the little strap. I'm going to make sure that stuff is actually off of my pillow, just so that we're not damaging our heat platen or our heating element here. So I'm going to just stick our transfer down. This is fashion film again, and this is in a neon color, just to kind of accentuate the metallic gold that we have here also. Okay, so we're going to grab our cover sheet here, just to make sure whatever they use to decorate that bag doesn't get onto our heating element here, ruin anything. So we'll go ahead and heat apply our fashion film for 10 seconds. Just going to increase my pressure a little bit. Okay, so we have our fashion film applied here. Now I just want to point out, you can see that the color kind of changed, and I just want to let you know that as soon as this vinyl hits some air, it's going to go right back to its bright pink ways. It changes based off of how much heat is applied to it, so you'll find that going back to very bright pink there. Okay, so let's look at how much it costs to create a monogram wristlet. Okay, so the image that you're seeing there, they used glitter flake for that, and they also used a wristlet found at Hobby Lobby also. I actually got to take a Hobby Lobby trip to pick everything out, so it was quite fun. But you're seeing the pricing there for the image that you're seeing, not the pricing for the image item that I printed. So for that wristlet, we found that it was a faux leather wristlet at Hobby Lobby, $5.99 for that. Our material cost, that's glitter flake, so you're looking at 46 cents. Our labor and overhead, $1.27. And your total cost to create is $7.72. So your selling price is $18. So you're making a $10 and some change profit there for just a wristlet. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next item, which is one of my personal favorites, and that's a scarf. Very popular for this time of year, and also it's really cool to sell to your customers, also cool to make for yourself and use as gifts for upcoming holidays. Who wouldn't love a monogram scarf? So we'll go ahead and place our scarf on here. And this is just as simple as laying out the edge of your scarf that you want to print on. Now you can get very creative with this. This is a large piece. We're going to tuck that underneath our press here. You can get very creative with this. If there's a certain way that you like wearing your scarves, you can go ahead and try it on, figure out where you want to place this. I typically have the edges laying around in the front, so I can go ahead and put this right on the edge here. So before I do that, I obviously have to preheat. I'm getting ahead of myself. So we'll lay our cover sheet down, make sure all of our edges are flat on there so we get a nice even surface here for printing. Okay. So for this, I am using our metallic silver for fashion film. I don't want to be too close to the edge because it is going to fold around a little bit, so I'm going to go up a little further. And this is going to be a mixed media design. So far, we've created different items with the same heat transfer vinyl. So with this, we're going to be using fashion film that I can tack down for just a few seconds before applying my outside layer. Then I actually created a faux rhinestone look. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this. This is our hologram heat transfer vinyl. And by creating little dots around your frame, it is giving it the look as if it is faux rhinestone. So from far away or maybe on your computer screen, it looks like rhinestones to you, but just our hologram. So we'll apply that for the full application. And do we have any questions while we're waiting on that?
Where did you source the scarf, and what material is it made of, and why did you choose to use fashion foam on it rather than premium plus or something that was sturdier?
Okay, so I sourced my scarf from Sanmar. They have an apparel manufacturer known as Alternative that has their stuff on there. So this is actually an alternative scarf, and I got it from Sanmar. So I decided to use fashion foam because this is a cotton, I believe it's cotton poly. Let me double check here. I don't want to give you the wrong information. Yeah, so we actually have a tri-blend for this scarf. This is a 50% polyester, 38% cotton, and 12% rayon. I chose fashion foam because I knew I wouldn't get any scorch marks with this. So I'm okay with going at 320 degrees for this scarf and it still being okay. If you want to use Premium Plus, by all means do that. You can do that also. I think they both have a soft feel for how thin and lightweight this scarf is, so you won't have any issues there. Okay, so our hologram is a cool pill, so we want to make sure that's cooled down a little bit before you pill the carrier. And let's look at what you can sell a faux rhinestone monogram frame scarf at. Okay, so the scarf seen in the image on your computer screen is the same style scarf. That was purchased from Sanmar, also by Alternative. So the scarf cost is $4.99. Your material cost is 56 cents for the fashion film and the hologram. And your labor and overheads coming in at $1.39. So your total cost to produce a scarf is $6.94, and your selling price is $22. Like I said, scarves are very popular this time of year, so a lot of people are buying these up. They're going to be willing to pay even more for something with their monogram on it. So you're getting $15 for profit for just a scarf there. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next item, and that is shoes. So if you're familiar with monogramming, or if you've ever ordered anything monogramming, you've probably heard of Mark & Brown or also Marley Lily. And if you've seen some of the different things that they have monogrammed with embroidery, it is just completely fascinating. I urge you to even visit their website just to see the different stuff you can do with monograms. And they are printing shoes, and they're not just printing tennis shoes, they're also printing boots, snow boots, riding boots, anything that you can imagine they're embroidering a monogram on. So check that out. I'm going to show you how you can monogram a pair of tennis shoes. So we'll go ahead and pop in our shoe platen. Okay, lock that in place. We're going to just place our shoes on here. You don't have to worry about if this is going to get ruined at all. It'll be just fine underneath the heating element if you're worried about any of this melting at all. Just slide that on there right on the side. Place your monogram. Okay. Oops. Okay, so we'll grab our cover sheet and cover that up just to keep our heating elements safe there. And we're going to apply for the full application. So that was glitter flake if you weren't able to see that. So 320 degrees, anywhere for 10 to 15 seconds. Now, if you caught it, you probably noticed that I didn't preheat. If it's not something that's going to be laundered a lot, you won't have to worry about the preheat step. Okay, so now we have our monogram shoes there. So you can see just how cool that looks on there. I mean, it was just a plain black shoe before. Now we have a nice personalization on there, and you can see why customers would want to buy something like this. Now, I found these shoes at Walmart, so it was a pretty economical price for these. Let's look at how much you can sell these for. Okay, so our blank cost was $10.99. Material cost, you're using a very small piece of fashion film there, so it's 22 cents. Very, very easy. And we have our labor and overhead, and our total cost to produce is $12.43, but you can see your profit there. So we can sell this for $25, and you're looking at how much it cost. You're making, okay. So we're gonna move on to our last item, very popular, something we're seeing a lot in the monogramming world, and that is umbrellas. Now you wanna be very careful with the type of umbrella that you're buying. Make sure it's a fabric that you can heat apply. Don't worry about nylons. We have a material for that. If you've heard of Thermo Grip or Gorilla Grip, those are 2 heat transfer vinyls that you can use on those. This is a umbrella that I don't have to worry about as far as material goes. It's just a polyester material. And I'm going to load my 8x10 on here so we can slip the edge of the umbrella on here to heat apply. Okay, so we're just going to take the edge of the umbrella that you want to press. So I'm going to assume that it doesn't really matter where you press it because there's not a front or back to an umbrella. So just grab an edge and thread it right on your platen here. But you want to make sure that your design, that your design is going to be small enough to fit right on the edge. So as intriguing as it is to do a very large print on these umbrellas, you just want to make sure that you're going to be able to do it on the type of press that you have. Now, if you have a clam, for instance, you can do that very easily. Now, I got this to fit on here a little better earlier. Okay. So our design goes up. Just going to want to play with it a little bit to see how you can get it on there nice and easy. There we go. Okay. Perfect. Move this down just a tad to make sure our design isn't going off the edge of our platen or off the edge of our umbrella. Okay, so I'm actually going to keep my hand here just to keep it in place because we have these wires to deal with here. So you have to be very careful with this whole process that we're not having any wires sticking up and hitting our heating element or anything. Okay, so we don't have any material that can be exposed to the heating element, so I'm not going to worry about the cover sheet for this. We should be fine. So, well, we will be fine, not should be. Okay, so we're doing fashion film on our umbrella here. Just choose a heat transfer vinyl that's going to be compatible for that. And we're going to apply it for 10 seconds at 320 degrees. I also did change out my platen, so we have to make sure our pressure is correct. Do we have any questions on the umbrella at all? Okay, great. Okay. All right, so it looks like we got a good adhesion there, so we can go ahead and peel our carrier back. And now you have your personalized umbrella. Now I know it might be bad luck to open this, but I just want to show you just how nice that looks on there when it's open. It's just so cute, and it's something that any girl that has to go out in spring even, I mean, I would want to own one of these. So let's look at how much you can profit from customizing an umbrella. Okay, so our blank cost is $11.95. I found this umbrella again at Hobby Lobby. It was a fun trip. Our material cost for the image that you're seeing is 56 cents. Now, if you're for the image that you're seeing, that is glitter flake, so that's the cost for glitter flake. I use fashion film, so you're gonna be able to vary your price there, depending on the type of vinyl you're using. Your labor and overhead, again, 15% for how much you are using for your business, and your total cost is $13.73. So the selling price for this is $25. We looked into who's selling umbrellas and who's doing them well, and this is the price that you're looking at for a personalized umbrella. So your profit for an umbrella is $11.27. Okay, so that is all of the blank garments and items that I have for demoing today. So if we have any questions, go ahead and send those in. I'm going to go back to the table here and see if I missed touching on anything. Okay, so it looks like we covered everything. Again, just want to touch on the pricing. The cost to produce a monogram using heat transfer material is less expensive than embroidery. You're looking at a lot of cost to produce when you go into embroidery, and you want to make sure that you have the quantity of items that you're embroidering coming in if you want to hoop each item, and you also are limited to what type of items you can also monogram. So choosing heat transfer material and using a heat press for these items is the way to go if you want to get into a large variety of different things that you can do. Okay, and I told you about the handout section in the control panel, so don't forget to do that if you want to know how much cost is going into each item we printed today. And do we have any questions before we close everything up? Okay, great. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the class. I just want to let you know that we are doing another class on November 22nd, and that's with Zach Ellsworth on creating a memorable open box experience. So be sure to join us with that, and thanks so much for joining me today.